Hello, David here again. Thought I'd do a video today about acknowledge acknowledging our progress as we are developing and growing. Because I think the problem the problem is when you're watching a film, if something profound happens, they make it seem quite dramatic, and there's usually thunder and lightning or gale of wind, or it's very profound. And actually, life isn't like that. When you think back about some of the changes that happen in your life, it's usually quite subtle, and it can be sometimes months or weeks before we actually realize that we've changed. And what I'm talking about really is it's as we grow, we learn to respond in a new way to circumstances and things that happen in our life and the experiences we have. We often would say things that happen to us, but actually, because we are the creators of our experience in life, it doesn't happen to us. It happens because of us. We make certain choices and follow a certain, usually habitual pattern, and then things happen, but it's all created by ourselves. And I think, in modern society, everyone's quick to blame everybody else and feel offended about everything that's happening to them, and it's stopping people from evolving, because if you lay the blame at somebody else's feet, then, well, I'm innocent and I don't have to do anything. It's you that's got to change. Well, it isn't that way. It's the changing of ourself that actually makes the difference to the experience we have as we're growing and day to day. So what you'll find is when you're working on yourself and healing those old emotional scars, you may not be really aware that you're doing that, but if you're actually looking to improve your life and experience things in a different way, you'll find a way of achieving that. And what will happen is one day something will happen, and you'll respond in a different way. And the way I explain this is, if a person grows up in a violent household, chances are if they get into some kind of conflict, they'll turn to violence, because that's what they know, that's how they've been taught to respond. And, those of us that choose not to do that, we understand very clearly that if a person made a different a choice and it created a different response to violence, then the outcome would be very different, and they'd have a very different experience of the challenge that they're presented with. So it's important that we actually, when we become aware that we responded in a different way to our normal way and had a different experience of the whole situation and the challenge or whatever, that we actually acknowledge that properly. And maybe you find some way of celebrating it, because that will encourage us then to keep moving forward and keep changing, so that we create a life that is much more favorable. And the challenges, I can remember thinking, a long time back, when the challenges came along, you think, blimey, is this ever going to end? Is this ever going to change? But it's actually the way we perceive the challenge that helps us to make new choices. So see it as Yeah, it's not easy, but if we can see any challenge and all challenges as gifts of awareness for us to make some changes, then there's no one to blame. It's not this horrible person that's doing these things to me. It's this person that has alluded me to something that is inside of me that is not in harmony, that's causing me to respond in a way that's keeping me locked in this habitual pattern. So when somebody challenges you, don't go starting to blame them. Think of it as an opportunity for you to change and look for a new way to respond. Sometimes it's best not to even respond, just to be quiet and remain silent, and allow that person to throw their toys at the pram and do all they want to and just not respond. That are usually quite aggravating for them, but that's their stuff. So yeah, it's give yourself a pat on the back every time you realize, and it can be quite subtle. It's not going to be dramatic, and it's not going to be a momentous occasion. It's going to be subtle little changes that you make over a period of time, and they all add up. It's like somebody said to me about a dripping tap. If you put a bucket underneath a dripping tap, to begin with, it doesn't seem like there's much water coming out of the tap, but you leave it there for a while, and it's surprising how much accumulates in the bucket. And it's the same with the changes. When we make little subtle changes, and we keep doing that, then it all eventually adds up and creates a different way of life for us. So I hope this has been helpful, and if anybody feels that they'd like to get in touch with me and that I could, can assist them, then please do get in touch. Okay then, thank you, goodbye.